We'll see. Yeah, I just started doing this thing called Elias Solves the Universe, and then I was like, well, that's not very inclusive. How can we make it more inclusive? And then I came up with, and I was like, well, let's solve the universe. That sounds good. All right, live now. Woo! Okay, cool. We're good. We're live. I'm just going to post out the link to a million people real quick. And I'm going to mute my desktop audio. Where's the thingy? I'm going to try not to refer to the word thing. Oh, by the way, there's lots of water down there. If you need some,
sweet. Yeah, I'll grab one. Gotta stay hydrated.
Folks, we're live. We're just getting the last bit set up because we're pros. Okay. And we're live. All right, let's share that out everywhere we possibly can. So, share in a group, Millennial Network group, because they need to know. Go, go, go. And share one more time on my own timeline, because, yeah. Okay, post. That's done. That all looks good, I think. Yeah, everything looks happy, everything looks fun. Okay, I'm going to hit record on this sucker. There we go. Testing 1, 2, 3. It looks like that's good. I've only got one other pair of headphones, by the way. Either of you want them?
I don't know. Do you? Oh, hey.
Good.
Hey.
If you want them, I'm good.
You can look all cool like you're on the radio or something.
Sure. Are you sure you don't want them?
Yeah, I've got my own.
All right, cool.
Oh, Zach's going to be in on this.
Yeah. Join me.
Dude, it's almost like I've got a couch, but it's made of chairs. This is awesome.
Oh, now I can hear you so clearly.
You can hear clearly now. The headphones are on. Okay, I think we're ready to rock and roll. Don't you agree?
Oh, yeah.
Cool. And I'll do one more level check here. I think we're all right. So that is streaming. By that, I mean that camera right there. That's recording. The entire social media world knows. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think you know what this means. This is going to be our quickest time between recording a podcast and actually getting it out on the web, because we're here with Mirage13. Brick and Pike, how you doing?
We're doing great.
This is freaking awesome. You texted me a couple weeks after the Universe featuring Ray was on, yeah?
Yeah, she's an awesome friend of ours, and with an amazing performance, an amazing voice and creativity and everything, and we thought it was really cool what you guys did, and we thought it was really cool that you're trying to solve the universe.
Sometimes without LSD, it's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and man, she is so freaking awesome too. Like that was such a mind-bending experience to talk with her. Like just talking about sacred geometry and all that good stuff. It was so much fun. But then I love musicians just in general. Like you guys are just out there thinking completely differently and putting the world together in totally different ways. And it's just amazing that you're able to come up with what you come up with. Like, I guess I should actually quickly introduce the band Mirage13. Then I'm going to use the description that's on the Facebook page. That Mirage13 is a band inspired by fuzzy, distorted guitar, loud bass scales, heavy drum fills, and intense vocals. A mix of grunge, alt rock, and punk. And if you're a fan of any music from the 90s, this is going to be your next obsession. Because honestly, I was listening to, what track was it earlier? The Seven Nation Army by White Stripes Band. You guys did a cover of that.
Yeah, we did.
And I'm telling you, shivers were running down my spine.
Oh wow, thank you.
'Cause that's like one of my all-time favorite songs, and I've never heard a band do a better cover version than that.
Jeez, thanks so much. Like that means a lot.
And getting a lot of views on YouTube too.
Yeah, well, I think we kind of like started on YouTube because we ended up accidentally doing, well, not accidentally, but I mean, we decided for some reason to do this one cover, and YouTube kind of took off for us, and we started doing covers with people like, and drummers from all over the place, like from Denmark and the States and stuff, and so it became a really kind of fun thing for us to do YouTube and video stuff.
Which cover was it that took off for you?
Well, it was our first. It didn't take off. I mean, the one that took off the most was probably Leona's bass cover. That one went crazy, and it was a total accident. It was a 21 Guns cover, and by Green Day, and she was gonna do a collaboration with it, but she ended up just posting it because the collaboration didn't actually happen. So she just posted the bass cover, and yeah, it just took off like crazy. I think what is it at now? I think like 300,000 views or something.
That's a crazy 300,000.
Yeah.
Dude, most people get 300 at most. That's a crazy amount of views.
Yeah, and it's probably one of Green Day's kind of more simple bass lines, so that was kind of interesting.
But simple can be really beautiful too, can't it?
Yeah, of course.
There was another one that you guys did where you actually posted I think it was bass, but you had the tabs posted as well. Or is that the same one I'm thinking of?
There's a few bass covers, and Ariel did some awesome guitar covers too.
I honestly, with YouTube, I had a bit of a problem with a few of my guitar covers. They were banned.
What?
Because due to copyright issues, I had a Stairway to Heaven cover and a Psycho by Muse cover as well, which were both taken off YouTube or muted just because copyright issues.
What?
Yeah, I know.
That's insane.
Yeah, and we posted Psycho by Muse on Facebook too and had the exact same issue. So that really sucked because they're awesome covers and she really played them really well.
Well, and they're awesome songs too.
Yeah.
That sucks that they would have pulled them.
Yeah.
Do you guys run into that a lot with your covers or not so much?
So far with guitar covers, for some reason it's been a thing, but for everything else it's been fine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh. I wouldn't have thought they'd pull covers. I guess it means it's that good.
Well, I guess if they link it to it and for some reason the band isn't into having their song covered, I mean, kind of happens.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
But I imagine you don't have to worry about the copyright issues with your original songs.
No,
No.
definitely not. And it's funny because when we just started, we started the band because we love to write music and we wrote a ton of originals, just like life kind of happens and then you write a song. You know, something happens and you just have to let it out into music. And we decided to write only originals, and we were super anti-covers at first. We're like, we're not going to do a cover. We're not going to do a cover. And finally, when we finally decided to do a cover because of this one contest we were doing, we ended up actually getting more into covers, and that really helped us to learn a lot about like our vocals and songs and everything else too.
So take me through that songwriting process. When you get an idea, I mean, first off, how do the ideas for the lyrics come to you?
Well, do you want to go first? Because I think we do have a bit of a different process, but we love to bounce off of each other and like really work together on writing everything.
I guess I'd say it really depends on the song too. Like sometimes for me, whenever I make up something, like it's either just the vocal line first or the bass line, or then just kind of fill it in. But yeah, I love when we both come up with different parts for things and just bounce off each other for that.
Yeah, like working together has been awesome. For me, it's kind of like, you know, you just kind of wake up and you have something in your head and you just pick up a guitar and you just write it down, write a riff down. I'm not much of an editor, so I like to just put down what your thoughts are right there and then just leave it at that and don't touch it, just because it's like your ultimate like expression in that moment. And then, yeah, we bring it back and forth and write a bass line and write some riffs and make it into a song. It's funny, some songs end up being completely different. Sometimes accidents make them even better, like her song Chloroform, when Leona was mixing it and doing a bunch
Leona?
of stuff. Yeah, who's Leona?
I don't know.
I don't
Who
know.
mixed the song?
Whoops, I didn't have enough coffee today. But she accidentally put it in like this amazing format, which kind of made it like sing back and forth to itself in a way, like the vocal lines.
So the pre-chorus over the chorus.
Yeah, and it sounded amazing, and we're like, yeah, let's just do that, just leave it, even though it wasn't supposed to be there. It's just like stuff like that really sparks a difference in the music.
That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. So sometimes it's literally just what's going on that day or what you're feeling. Get it onto paper and then massage it from there.
I would say always.
Always.
Well, for me, like I'd never pick a topic to write about. It's just whatever you want to kind of let out, even if it's not from your own perspective. Like sometimes you're thinking from another's perspective through something you've seen or you've experienced in life or in media, in a movie, in a book or anything, and something that just really strikes you, and you just have to kind of like, show that in music and in writing and lyrics.
What sorts of themes do you find come up most often in your music? The ones that you find you have the most passion for?
I guess some people have described our songs as a bit more dark or
Angsty.
angst-filled.
So, yeah, I would say like definitely our thoughts on the universe and life. I mean, just everything about the world and what makes it, and struggles, some politics, definitely feelings, emotions, love.
Your song Nameless, there were two lyrics that stuck out to me, and I'm not sure why. But all you wanted was to make them see. All you wanted was a way out. What are those describing?
So with that song, I think we're really talking about a person who feels like they're stuck within something that they don't want to be stuck in, and all they want is for people to actually see and recognize that, even though everybody around them thinks they're fine.
So kind of dealing with the facades that we have to put on every day. Interesting. What inspired that one?
That one was actually really cool because we were playing this one show, which was addressed. The show was about suicide prevention. So we were really inspired the night before, just like jamming, and then it just kind of came to be, and it was really inspired by that topic. And we just kind of had to write it just because, so many people are affected by it. We've known so many people that were affected by it, and it just kind of came out, and we wanted to play it at that show, but we ended up doing an electric set and we never got to play the acoustic song. So we're like, we're just going to release this as a standalone single and kind of do it like that.
And it's an incredible song.
Thank you.
It is so emotionally powerful. And on a technical level, the video is amazingly produced.
Thank you so much. I do have to, like, the Brick is an amazing video editor and graphic designer, so kudos to Brick.
Thanks, dude.
Don't tell me to shut up.
No, but seriously, I mean, that stuff, like getting good video quality, getting good audio can be a really tough thing. Especially, like, I've talked to a lot of different musicians that struggle to do that have to crowdfund to raise money for months to make that magic happen. Sometimes I don't want to sound ageist or anything, but sometimes some of the older performers tend to say that. Do you find that being in a younger demographic that you're not seeing the same barriers that, say, an older artist might see?
Well, it's hard to say because we've only seen things from our own perspective. But I think that, like, we really try at the beginning. We really like to try and do everything ourselves, just because we're kind of taught to do everything that way in our life. And so we kind of researched, what would work. We even had an idea of renting a bunch of equipment to actually, record our own record instead of going to a studio originally. And just learning and learning and learning. Maybe it wouldn't come out the best at first, but then eventually you learn, and then you can't unlearn. So so you have that knowledge.
Have you ever considered actually doing that angle of recording an LP or an EP just with your own rented equipment?
I guess we've kind of changed our minds a bit on that after working with some studios and kind of like yeah, we've had a great experience working with some studios, and then the producer makes a huge difference too when they really are on the same vibe with you and they know all the equipment that they use and how to kind of get that sound that you're all looking for, which is awesome.
So how much of that sound is thanks to the producer? I'm completely new to this world.
Well, like the songs which we recorded, for example, at EMAC, Chloroform, Sick Puppet, Nice and Perfect, I would say a lot of the things that are chosen, like the way the amps are positioned, there's just so much, like after going to that, and we ended up being so lucky to have won the 98.1 classic rock contest thing to be able to even record those there, but like we just saw how much work and how much knowledge goes into actually being able to do that, and there's so much behind that and so much experience too. So I think that makes a big difference.
Right. I imagine it would. Have you ever done, there's a small studio here in London called Junction Beats. Have you ever hung out with Joel there?
Yeah, actually we just saw him last night, and he ended up filling in for a few shows. We played a show with him being our drummer called The Office once.
Oh,
and
Rum Runners too.
Rum Runners, yeah.
Isn't he awesome?
Yeah, he's a very chill, great guy.
And that studio of his. Oh my God, have you ever been there?
Yeah.
It's
yeah, we
so
jammed
cool.
there. Yeah,
Oh,
I agree.
sweet.
I agree. It was super cool, yeah.
Do you ever record those jam sessions? Just put them out?
No, not.
No, we just generally jammed and then played the show together, and it was a ton of fun, and maybe we'll do it again sometime. We actually played one song together last night. He was on a drum box, and we were just with an acoustic guitar, and it was completely out of the blue. It wasn't even our guitar.
Oh,
and
cool.
yeah, we're like, let's just do this. It was at a girl's, Alana's birthday party, so she joined in. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, nice. That's
Yeah.
so much. That sounds like so much fun. That's like my background. I come from the audiovisual world, so I more took the behind the scenes role. So, but there was always that part of me that was like, I want to get up there. I want to one day learn an instrument, or I want to be like them. I want to be cool.
You should, just for yourself even. I mean, like, for me personally, like when we're live, it's just like being in your own bubble, and like the less people I see, the better, and the more in your own bubble you are, the better, because it's just kind of like you expressing yourself, and it's the best thing.
That's something I've noticed with some of the musicians. When I hosted Mo Mondays, that was something I noticed, is that sometimes I had musicians that came on stage and they were a bit nervous, but then they'd get the guitar, keyboard, or whatever they were playing out, and it was just like, whoa!
Yeah.
Where'd that voice come from?
Actually, recently, me and Leona, since like we both agree that we feel pretty much naked on stage without our instruments, we decided to attempt some karaoke with a live band. So that was a fun, completely different experience, just like to just sing without an instrument versus being so used to having like a guitar to strum or a bass to strum, to pick.
So karaoke. So to shake yourself out of that shell with karaoke.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's pretty daring.
Yeah, I did Metallica, and Leona did. What did you do?
The Cranberries.
Cranberries.
Oh, sweet. Who's the most fun band to do a cover of?
I think the Talking Heads, Psycho Killer.
Yeah, that's always a fun one to do. You get, like, it's very dynamic, so you get like jumping and all that.
You jump, or I really like playing Aneurysm by Nirvana, because it has so much instrumental parts where you can just rock out. And we had a dancer on stage with us too that time. He was rocking out, and we're all just having a great time.
How'd you find the dancer?
Sean, he's actually an amazing musician himself.
Yeah.
And he's a vocalist. He was of Motive Force at the time when we met him, and we had played a show together. And when we had done this one contest at the London Music Hall, we're like, we wanna have someone join and rock out on stage with us, just to kind of make it a little different. And also inspired by Nirvana's Reading Festival performances. So we invited Sean. He's like, yeah, I'll do this. And we're like, yeah, that's so awesome. And we ended up doing that quite a few times after.
Sweet. That's awesome. What are your what are your favorite kinds of shows to play? Like, there's lots of different venues, but like, are you a fan of doing the indoor, like bar pub scene or outdoor festivals? Like, what's your favorite?
We haven't played too many outdoor festivals, but a lot of venues are awesome to play at. Like Call the Office, it's an awesome one. Rum Runners, always fun. Yeah.
I think it's really important, especially also like it's not even always the place, but like who's there. Just like if it's the right people, and even if it's not a lot of people, it's just like everybody kind of bouncing the energy back and forth off of each other. It's just amazing. And yeah, like Leona and Brick said, Call the Office and Rum Runners was always amazing. You know, we had a lot of our friends out there and everybody was so great, and you just feel the energy and the vibes and just feels so good.
It's also great when you know a lot of the bands that you're playing with and they're just like friends and just enjoy sharing the stage.
Yeah, and just moshing out to each other's sets and having a great time.
And feeding off that energy from the audience.
Yeah.
That's the
Exactly.
best thing in the world, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Yeah, and especially when somebody knows like lyrics to your songs and you can kind of hear one person is maybe like singing along with the chorus. That's just amazing. Even if it's just one person, you're kind of like connecting on that level and they know it. It's so cool.
What was speaking of, when was the first time, or what was it like the first time you had somebody come up to you that you didn't know at all, that had found your music and said, I like what you're doing?
When do you think that was?
I'm thinking back to the London Music Club almost.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so when we just started out, like we started doing open mics and stuff like that. And London Music Club was a big destination of ours. We used to go there for the open mics. And that was where it was.
What did it feel like when somebody came up to you and said, damn, that's cool?
It was really cool. We appreciated it, and we're like, yeah, that's awesome. It felt great, and it felt so cool that you can share, something. You can share your feelings with someone; they can relate to it too.
I had another question about the creation of the band, actually related to a lot of this. Most bands say the year that they were created. Most bands say kind of roughly when they were created. The band was created 4,632 hours into 2013. That's a precise number of hours.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It is.
So what made you decide, you know what, there's three of us, let's do this. Let's start a band.
Well, we grew up together kind of playing music all the time. And originally we both played keys and we both played piano. And, when I ended up picking up a guitar and writing songs, and Leona wanted to join on the bass and wrote songs. We first started on keys and then kind of ventured into guitars. And then we had so many songs. We're like, let's just start a band and like buy an electric guitar and an electric bass. And to be honest, we've wanted to do this since we were really young, but we saved up and waited until we could, and then we just bought it online and started a band.
When the years between, I'd assume, school and starting the band, like what did you do to finance that? Like, did you go to, or I guess, what did you do to prepare for it? Did you go to school and study music theory, or did you just, decide, screw it, let's go work? Like, what did you do before then?
Well, our mom is a piano player, so she originally kind of taught us a lot of theory and stuff like that when she started us out. And I was self-taught on guitar. I just our dad had like a really old guitar laying around, which he didn't use very much, so I picked it up and like I really wanted to play it. It was a classical guitar, and I started playing classical guitar first. And yeah, I just started writing songs on that kind of by myself, and Leona joined in on keys and she wrote some amazing stuff, and we started writing together and kind of bouncing off of each other. And then, I always wanted a drum set, to be honest, since I was like 10 years old. So then, or to do something electric, I'd look up at all like the punk rock bands, and I would see how much they're so revolutionary. They're really saying what they feel, and what they're not scared to say what they actually think. And I really liked that about that. And same with Brick. And I just always wanted to play punk music and just kind of give yourself out there in a way of just like saying what you actually think about this world and really expressing yourself that way. So then we decided we'll just go for it, and it was a very out of the blue decision, but it felt really right.
Yeah, I kind of just decided to buy a bass online, not knowing how to play guitar or bass, and I have not regretted it a second. So if you're thinking of doing that, do it.
Leona is the Brick is the bassiest bass player ever. Like, she will make you play bass if you don't play bass.
Apparently.
And bass is only 4 strings, right?
Well, it can have more strings. But
Okay.
I have a 4-string bass, so it can go lower or higher than the 4-string.
And what was it about bass that made you go, this is the instrument I want to do?
I don't know. I guess I just felt like I should play bass. So, yeah. And it's been awesome. I love playing bass.
Because the guitar always seems like the default instrument to be cool. But then I've always looked at the bass players, like some of the great jazz players, and go, Jesus, how do you guys do that with your fingers? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So, huge props and mad respect for you for doing bass.
Thank you. And it adds a lot more to music than people realize. Like a lot of people don't notice bass lines and stuff, but when you actually start looking into it and learning them, you kind of notice that a lot of bass players put a lot of effort into adding those small things which really make a difference in songs, which is really cool.
Do you ever get to do bass solos?
Occasionally. we have some tunes where there is some bass, some interludes, and some kind of bass solos, which, yeah, bass scales here and there. I try to add what I can.
Well,
what serves the song, though, right? You don't want to add too much.
When we were in studio, the one thing we always told the producers, like, more bass.
More bass.
Always the first thing we go with. And the first studio we worked with, he's like, I can only add so much more bass before it starts to, like, pop the mix.
I think back to being a teenager, and I always think every time any of my EQ settings on my amp, I was just like, yeah, I just always add more bass all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, if you're not making the windows rattle, you don't have it high enough.
Exactly.
I agree.
That idea of saying what you think, though, is so antithetical to the corporate world, where I spend like 98% of my time. And that's why I always find it refreshing to talk with musicians and actual artists, because you guys just have a way of expressing, and it's almost like because you're artists or because you're musicians, it's okay to express the way that you feel. And I find that a lot of times in the world, for one reason or another, you can't. Maybe not just in the corporate world. Do you guys find that? Like outside of, the world of music, that there's just a lot of facades and fakeness going on?
Definitely, but that's why, like, music is so great, because when you experience that, you can kind of just go and let it all out into that, and kind of let your thoughts about that even out into your music and express that way, to people, or through writing or through poetry or through art, because like that's true. And we too experience the business side of things, and it's completely different.
Interesting. Yeah, the business side of stuff. So are you signed to a label right now, or just fully independent?
Fully independent.
Yeah. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, just knowing about a lot of stuff. Like, we love to do everything ourselves, and we love to be as creative as possible and kind of do it how we know how to do it. Like, we don't want anything that will change our vision. And it's the same thing in anything we do. Like, if there's something that will come in and, like, want to completely change you just so people will like you, that's not what we're into, because we want to express what we want to express to the world, even if it will take longer.
You mean you don't want your vision to be shaped by focus groups?
Pretty much.
You don't want executives to say that we've done all this research and and it shows that you should be wearing different kinds of T-shirts?
Yeah, all the demographic statistical stuff. Because, somebody's got to set a trend, right?
Yeah, exactly. You have to be unique, just like everybody else.
Absolutely.
But in the creative control side, though, I feel like and maybe you feel the same way, is it easier than ever to maintain that creative control and to stay independent? Like, do you really need the major labels anymore?
I think that with the stuff that's out there, you have so much more reach. Like with the internet, even through business, through music, through everything, you can reach people globally without having to actually travel to places or going anywhere. It's so different nowadays, and it gives you such great opportunities. Obviously, with great opportunities, there's so much more people doing it and trying it, and people are saturated and are shown so many different things constantly on a daily basis, from ads, from everything that they see. So it is hard to get your fan base, but like once you do, and once you get that exposure, it's so cool that you can actually reach people globally, and you would have never been able to do that back in the day.
And you have to balance that out with the business side and actually making money at some point too, right?
Yep.
Which is always got to be a tricky balance.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the first time we got paid for a show and we were invited to play at the Vic Tavern for $150, we were like, are you serious? Like, we're going to get paid for this? That's cool.
Yeah.
How do you sustain, like, what does the business of being a musician actually look like?
I would say we do it more for passion than for money, because financially it's difficult to sustain.
Right. So I imagine that, but there's got to be ways that, and this is something I really want to explore, is I feel like there's a way, especially for musicians that are independent, to, once you've built up that audience, that you can really sustain yourself off of that audience.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially having like a certain amount of, people that like your work, that follow you constantly. And we've been working on that stuff for a while, and we haven't yet released an actual EP or album. So that's what we're hoping to do within, like pretty soon, probably within the year. And, we've been taking our time and actually growing, the fan base and connecting with people and just learning. And we hope to, actually release something this year.
That would be awesome. So that's, and I think if I read it correctly on the site, there will be 13 tracks.
That is what we're planning. So aiming for.
That's the aim, eh?
13 seems to be kind of like our magic number. I mean, we started on July 13, 2013. We had so many different things happen to us on 13s, like a car accident twice.
What?
Yeah, so we like that number.
Car accidents. So the number 30, are you believers in the idea that there are sacred numbers, that there are?
I personally think that whether numbers are there or not, they are still present. Whether you call them numbers or, I mean, there's so many different theories and like the Fibonacci sequence and everything. And those are very interesting because, the universe is kind of based off of those numbers and grids and everything. And yeah, we find those very interesting.
What sort of reading have you done on that stuff?
We've done quite a bit of reading just to kind of understand the concept. And it's really fascinating how everything can, how everything has a pattern in nature, or how it all follows a certain spiral and it all grows in a certain way. And yeah, it's really interesting that everything kind of happens that way because it's programmed in a way. So yeah, we were always really fascinated by that, and by the fact that, numbers, whether you call them numbers or whether you count them or not, it's still that same structure.
Right. That we've got this universe and we've got fractals.
Oh, yeah.
Aren't fractals awesome?
Those are cool and beautiful.
That's, I mean, the math geek side of me, that's not that strong, but it's certainly there. I look at that and I go, oh my God, those are cool.
We actually, even on some of our shirts, which we bleach ourselves, we sometimes will put like a little formula on there, or like put a little, 3.14 pi symbol and stuff like that, just to kind of signify the number side of things.
Well, and a lot of music is very mathematical too, isn't it?
That's true. It is.
Like when you look at the scales, or, you know what, my girlfriend and I, we were looking at that over the holidays. We did a little bit of recording of our own, and we were looking into, the different chords and harmonic frequencies and all sorts of stuff. And it's like, wow, there's actually, like, this isn't just an art. This is a science. This feels really cool. But did you find when you were in school that you had that with music came a fascination with mathematics, or
Maybe you more, maybe Brick more than me.
Yeah, I guess I always liked some math related things, but
Yeah. For me, it was more so English, art, and music were my classes. Like math was never my strong suit.
right? And so, and Brick, for you, it sounds like more like math and science was your thing.
I don't know. I guess I liked a lot of things. I also liked a lot of art stuff when I was younger, but yeah, I always enjoyed the math aspect of it.
And Brick, you've done a lot of the video editing. You said for Mirage13, right?
Yeah. Well, we both really input on a lot of stuff, but yeah.
What got you fascinated with doing any video editing or video work?
Well, with our business side of things, that's always something I guess I was kind of drawn to, like Photoshop work and isolating images and stuff. So kind of going that way, you get to learn a lot of stuff, and then just trying things out with videos. And it's really cool what you can do when you try different video things, and yeah, learn as you go. And yeah.
When you're shooting videos, are you using a lot of professional cameras, or is it literally just like grab a smartphone and go?
We have a Canon 70D, so it is like a DSLR.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Cyber Monday.
Cyber Monday is the best.
Mm-hmm.
I'm finding that some of these some of the cameras on phones these days are absolutely insane.
Yeah, I've seen one comparison recently of the newest iPhone to a really professional camera, and it's like you almost wouldn't tell the difference, so it's pretty crazy.
The only real difference is in the low light now.
Yeah.
Like the pro cameras can do low light pretty well, but like I've got a broadcast camera and I've done some recordings with it in low light, and I've done some recordings with that phone in low light, and I'm like, I can tell the difference, but it's not like $2,000 difference.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I could get away with it with the smartphone and nobody would notice. Because like at the end of the day, it's going to go up on YouTube and nobody's going to know the difference.
And sometimes it's cool when videos just look authentic too, not like overly done and overly professional too.
Yeah.
For music stuff especially, I find.
Well, yeah, you get to play with that artistic side.
Yeah, for sure.
I know a long time ago I played with, did you guys ever use the Game Boy camera?
No.
Oh,
No.
man. So Nintendo, years ago, for the original Game Boy, they put out this digital camera attachment. And you could take these awesome, super grainy photos and print them out on a little Game Boy printer. What was really cool about it was if you had the Super Game Boy attachment for the Super Nintendo and slotted this thing in and hooked your Super Nintendo up to a VCR, you could make really crappy lo-fi recordings with this grainy camera and like put on shows and stuff like that. It was so cool.
That is cool. It sounds cool.
And really artistic too.
Yeah,
And
especially with nowadays stuff, everything's so clear. Like it's sometimes cool to go back and do something more so, you know, from the past than from the future.
yeah, I mean, there is a certain level, like, I don't know if you found this with using some older equipment or using some substandard equipment of, you almost have to get really creative to get the most out of it and to make this sound good. Did you ever find that?
Well, we haven't used too much older equipment yet, but we definitely want to experiment more with it with our like new music videos and stuff. But yeah.
There was something I had noticed on your YouTube page, just to come back to that for a sec. There was, oh yeah, here we go. You had done a cover of The Kids Aren't All Right, which, by the way, listening to that one, epic.
Thank you so much.
Epically done cover. You responded to this constructive criticism so well.
Which one was this?
So there was a guy that had messaged, I'm assuming it's a guy because every person who posts anything negative on the internet has to be a guy. He had posted, to be honest, the mixing was not that good. And then he had some other, you know, he basically gave this a ton of advice. Here's, if it were me, here's what I would do because I'm an expert. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, okay, it's easy for you to comment on the YouTube thing because you just get to sit there and enjoy what these people put out. And I didn't even notice any of the mixing problems personally. But it was like, how have you found that I didn't, I didn't get a chance to listen to every single track on the YouTube page, but like, what do you think when you get messages like that of armchair experts going, here's what you should do?
YouTube is like, it's a big place for, people to just like criticize each other in a way. Like, it's stuff that you wouldn't hear in real life, but like on YouTube, you'll probably get your worst. So we always take it as constructive criticism, or as, humorous as we can in a way. If it's insultive in any way, we'll just deflect it with a joke.
Some of them do get a bit laughable sometimes.
We've gotten some crazy comments from trolls before too.
Really? You've had the run-ins with the trolls?
Oh, definitely.
Oh my God, did you feed them?
Well, somebody said that our voices gave them cancer. And
what?
So we told them that they should probably go to the hospital. Like, sorry, dude.
Something similar to that one too, with like, this cover gave me syphilis or something.
Yeah.
And they didn't know how to spell it at all. Like, it was really.
Oh no.
Yeah. But I mean, like, sometimes when you get like a lot of good feedback and then one of those pops up and it's like, oh, okay.
That's interesting.
Well, yeah, those are kind of funny because in a way it's like, what? How did you even come up with that?
Wow. I can't believe that's a great response. You should go to the hospital. That's awesome. I love reading sometimes some of those online comments because it just feels so like, especially the ones where it's like where somebody says, "Who cares?"
Yeah.
It's like, well, you do.
That's what you commented. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always wonder why these people actually bothered to leave a comment if they have so much, like, if they have something negative to say. It's like, why are you even bothering to say anything? Just like, don't watch it.
Yeah.
Why are you watching this if you hate it so much?
Yeah, it's like you can watch something else on YouTube.
Yeah, you're just wasting your life, I guess.
Yeah, so I don't know. Well, you know what? Those are the kinds of people, they'll find problems with anything.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, on YouTube, it's a regular thing. You'll see it on all covers pretty much, and we definitely learn how to just accept it and go on with it and pay attention to the good stuff, because that's what matters.
Yeah, and I mean the positive comments on your videos far outnumber anything negative, at least from what I've seen.
Yeah, definitely.
So I mean, I'd say you're on the right track.
It's just those ones you can never forget.
Yeah.
'Cause they're very creative.
You ever thought of making a song out of the YouTube comments?
No, but that's an interesting idea.
See if they all branch together.
No, that's pretty unique though.
Some sort of an inspired song where you just try to channel the emotions of the angry YouTube basement dweller.
Yeah, make a punk rock tune out of it.
From the view of
the viewer
person that comments.
Yeah, covered in Cheeto dust.
Yeah.
Just playing games night and day. Not that they all do that. So, yeah, I might be being slightly horrible about them, but that's just me.
We're just being trolls back to the trolls.
Yeah, something like that. What are we opening ourselves up to when this goes on YouTube later? We're feeding the trolls.
You're right. Comments, please comment.
It's like, yeah, you just sometimes on some of those videos though, you go down a serious rabbit hole and start reading the comments and go, "Oh my God."
Yeah, I know. So like sometimes, it's funny to read, or like, I don't know, it's some people just hide behind a computer and say things to people, and they would never say that to you in real life.
Yeah. Have you thought about experimenting with doing your music live but on the internet as well?
We have before, but we're still working on the better equipment for that type of setting, especially for an electric setup. So maybe in the future we will.
What about an electric setup changes it?
Just like the interface and the amount of inputs we'd need and stuff like that.
Yeah, like if you were to mic a drum kit, then like all the things you need to mic for if you're doing like a live setup,
mic the
and
amp,
everything, and
mic the vocals, mic the bass, amp.
Yeah.
And how many mics are you putting on the drums?
Oh, well, that
at least 2, but I mean, a lot of setups use so many, like 8 or 16.
What?
I know, especially when we're in studio, it's crazy. For us, like the stuff that we've done ourselves, we've sometimes used one at SM57
Plus
for the
the
whole
bass-
kit,
bass drum.
and it sounded good. But like in a studio, when we got to record, they use literally like sometimes 8 mics or like 7 mics
Well-
just
well,
on one kit.
They'll have every single piece mic'd separately and individually isolated. So like every tom and every cymbal and hi-hat and bass drum.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That explains why some of
Snare.
those mixers are insanely huge.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, so many inputs.
Wow. So if you're doing like eight inputs right there for the drums, you know, an input for vocals, that's 9, 10, 11, plus each of the guitar amps. So you're miking the amp itself, not... Wow.
Yeah, I mean, if we do something, we'd probably go with less. But like at this point, we have like a 2 input interface, so that's just 2 mics. So we kind of, you know, we work around that. But we're ideally hoping to get like a 6 input or 4 inputs, so we can do it all kind of at once.
Right. Have you checked out any of the... There's used Mackie Onyx mixers, which I think when they're hooked up to the computer can give you the 16 individual outputs or the 16 individual inputs. Have you looked into those at all?
A little bit, but we're still kind of looking to get into it and still haven't really followed through.
Okay.
Getting into
we
that.
did try with mixers and found that it does have 16 inputs, but it outputs as 1. So
Oh.
that's the
That's
tough
true.
part. So you can't really
Edit.
all the audio levels will be different, so you can't change it after it's recorded, only prior, and then it would take up it would take a lot of careful setting up.
Yeah, you just got to get it right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think, which one was it as well? Mark of the Unicorn, they make a lot of good equipment too. I know that they've got like the 8 or 16 input mixers that you actually shows up as 16 different inputs on the PC
Yeah.
side.
Oh yeah.
And those are awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, so
we'll
there's
check it out.
there's way more options out there. And there's a lot of good used equipment hitting the market now.
That's true. A lot of our stuff we got used too. Like we have a speaker,
It's Yorkville.
Yorkville, that we got used, and the mixing board and everything that we got used as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
What are you using for mixer?
What was it called?
The name I've forgotten the name, but
Yeah, the names, you know, I forgot the name too, but it's a pretty old mixer, but it's extremely durable, and it's done a great job of just doing like live setting and live setup.
Sounds like it might be like a Mackie or Soundcraft or something.
I think it might be a Mackie.
Woo!
Yeah.
Mackie represent.
Yeah.
Those mixers are bulletproof, man.
Oh yeah, just like SM57s, right?
Yeah.
You can pretty much use them as a hammer and like they'll be fine.
Oh my God, the SM57s, 58s are legendary.
Yeah, we started out like the Humble Pie recording, the vocals were done on an SM57, and we never thought it was like a vocal mic. We always thought of it kind of as an instrument mic, but when we heard that, like, that sounds good, we're like, we can use that on our covers, you know, it's durable, it's affordable, it's such a good microphone. So we ended up getting a few of those.
It's also awesome for live vocals when you need a mic.
Yeah, we also swap out mics with those too when we sing live.
Cool. You want to know a fun fact about the SM57?
Sure.
It's the same mic that's been used by the President of the United States since sometime in the 70s.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You can actually buy the
Interesting.
presidential kit where it sets up the 2 microphones side by side with the windscreen and everything.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
So you're using the same microphone that former presidents of the United States have used and an orange dude,
I guess so.
which is kind of
Yeah,
cool.
It's neat.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's over there on my computer. I'm using an old SM58.
Mm-hmm.
I got that like dirt cheap years and years ago, and they painted the thing for some reason.
Yeah, I see. I thought that was duct tape.
No, it's paint. I don't know what the hell they were
Interesting.
thinking.
Maybe they wanted it to go a different color.
I guess. It's old. Like, I think that one was built in the 80s or 90s sometime.
Oh, yeah. Well, speaking of old stuff, like we love vinyl and all of that stuff. We have a
Cool.
vinyl player at home, and, you know, when we do release stuff, it'll definitely be on vinyl.
Yes.
And tapes.
Tapes?
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
We used to record on tapes as kids all the time. Like we had this one little tape recorder, and we just record ourselves, and like we still have the whole old setup at home, which our parents have, and yeah, it's so much fun, and it's good memories and it's so authentic.
Do you still have any of those old tapes?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
I know, us going crazy on the piano, doing whatever.
You ever think about putting those online?
I don't know. Maybe. Maybe we'll have to take another listen.
Or sample them?
Yeah.
You ever done any sampling?
Not ourselves too much, but at the studio, like the drum set was sampled and everything.
Oh, okay, cool. So, yeah, it's... oh, man, the tapes. Oh, those are so much fun. Those are kind of hard to source these days, though, aren't they?
Yeah. I don't think people listen to them too much anymore, but I think there's a market now. Like we were talking to Rob when we last talked to him from EMAC, and he was saying that vinyl is like the next big thing.
I think he was saying that sometimes it even sells more than CDs of specific bands and
Really?
nowadays. So that was interesting to know, because so many people are doing just digital now and they don't even have CD players in their cars, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah. What we really like about vinyl is that like you hear all of the, the imperfections on it, like the scratches, and it feels really like alive compared to just like a digital recording that's so perfect and so cut perfectly. It kind of, it just feels very different.
Well, and there's like a ritual to putting a record on too, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely.
Where you get out, and there's no easy skip. Like you can't just go, oh, I want to skip to the next song. You have to actually get up and move the needle and sit back down.
Yeah, and kind of listen to it like a story or like a book.
Yeah, and it almost always sounds warmer for some reason.
I agree. Yeah, I'm gonna think it's the imperfections, but there's just something about it, some kind of vibe.
Yeah, no,
I think they also master it differently for vinyl, which is pretty cool.
true. Yeah, probably something like that. Yeah. Oh my God. Where can you actually get vinyls done then?
We haven't looked too much into it, but I know there's companies that manufacture vinyls or CDs, and yeah, I guess that's how you get it done.
Cool. Now, when you actually release your album, the LP or EP, I always get the terms mixed up. EP is just like a shorter album. Yeah.
5 or 6 tracks.
Okay, maybe I'll ask you guys. You can clear this up for me. So I've heard of LPs, EPs, and albums.
Yeah. So LP is like a lengthened kind of EP from what I know, and an album is something that's beyond that. So I guess 13 tracks would be considered an album or an LP. I think that might be the same thing almost.
Yeah, I think that LP usually describes a full-length album.
So pretty much, yeah, if it's below 6 songs, it's an EP, like almost closer to a demo. And if it's beyond that, it's an LP or an album.
Okay, cool. And have you thought about doing singles as well?
What we're actually more so thinking about doing now is actually releasing a few of our songs as singles and then leading up to the album through that, because that's kind of our process of getting the album out.
Right. Oh, that'd be so sweet.
Yeah, and doing music videos alongside those. That's what we want to do.
Yeah,
Oh,
that'll be a
man.
lot of fun to experiment with. Like doing the videos is one thing that we're really excited about too.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like you're having so much fun in those videos. It looks so
yeah.
natural.
Thank you. Yeah, but for like originals, we have so many ideas. We're even thinking of like going to plasticine, or just like we have so many crazy ideas. We want to try out all of them and just kind of see what works with that, and what goes with that, and what we feel is right. And you only have like 2 or 3 minutes, or 3 minutes per song to put all this creative stuff in, and you end up like with songs. We usually like visualize a lot of stuff. When you're listening to a song, you can kind of like close your eyes and you see a whole setting, and that's how we feel like about our songs. So we come up with all these ideas and we write them down. There's so many of them. It's like we got to condense them into this short period of time and see how we can do it.
So while you're doing the songwriting process, are you also coming up with the video ideas to go with it, or do you do the video ideas after you've written and performed?
I think whenever they happen kind of thing.
Interesting. Because one of my former lives was in the video world.
Yeah.
If I didn't do computer science in university, I was going to go for videography.
That's cool.
Yeah. Well, not quite actually. I was going to do... The order was going to be, I would have done chemistry because I probably shouldn't say this, but in my 11th, in grade 12, we had a chemistry teacher that was retiring, and we had a blast chamber. And one of the cool things about a chemistry teacher who's retiring in a blast chamber is that chemistry teacher teaches you how to make explosive stuff.
Yeah.
We use that blast chamber.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you know, every other day it was like, we're going to make this paint can explode. And that was lots of fun. So I was like, ooh, chemistry looks like fun. But before that, it really was, I was kind of headed down the videography route just because, again, it's that artfulness. It's the capturing. I love capturing people in the moment.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like
Definitely.
just, you know, just get a camera and see, you know, what's going on in the world. You know, what's somebody's opinion on something. Or, you know, when people are at a dance, just really capturing their emotions at that moment. And it's just amazing to see when people are just engrossed, enveloped in that music. The way that they respond, the way that they can come out of their shell.
Oh yeah.
And how
I agree.
and how you can speak to somebody so intensely through music. Actually, there was a documentary a couple nights ago I saw of a man that he had lost most of his short-term memory, but he was still able to, he was this incredible performer, and he was still able to perform piano, still able to sing, like, you know, songs that he had learned years and years ago. And I've seen that so often with members of my own family who've had, you know, memory loss or brain issues, that it's like music is the last thing to go. What do you guys think that is?
I think it's because I think it's a different part of your memory, and it's really also associated with like feelings and like almost like how you feel being expressed into the instrument. I mean, even some people or some kids you see just kind of like pick up music or like start playing like crazy little piano masters, and you know, it's, I don't know, it's almost like you just really expressing your inner self. And I think it isn't something that's easily forgotten, even if you actually like forget it. Like you learn a song, and I did that many times before, and then I think, oh, I forgot that song, and then I'll start playing and be like, somehow I remember that song. You know, even though you aren't actually remembering it, kind of just, it's just there, still stored in your brain.
It's just a different part you tap into.
I would think so.
And I wonder when we actually started to develop that musical sense.
I think it's really a big part of our senses, like music and sound and, you know, our perception of the world.
Yeah.
It can influence you so much, like songs with your feelings and your mood and everything. It's like a big part of people's lives, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's, I mean, I can, in my own life, I mean, I listen to a lot of video game music, like that's, and instrumental stuff. And like, I can list off, you know, tons of times in my life where it's like I was listening to this track or this track, and it's the second that you put it on, you know, you ever find that the second you put on a song, you're taken right back to that moment in time, and you go, this is what was happening in my life.
Oh, definitely. And then you can even like think of the smells that you experienced at the time, like the feel of things and everything. When you say instrumental, do you mean like classical or?
A little bit of classical, but sometimes just ambient music or, you know, just really music without lyrics. Just because I use that, I would use that in school actually to focus.
Oh, yeah, I love music to focus too.
Yeah. It's just, what's your go-to focus music?
Well, for me, like, I like to write. So, like, when I write, it's depending on kind of the mood of what I'm writing. So if it's like fantasy, or it's more so like orchestral classical music, or sometimes it's more so electronic music or ambient music, like you say. Like I go through a lot of different stuff to kind of stuff with lyrics too, just to kind of help me get into the moment, because music always like pulls out your emotions from you and gets you into that moment, gets you like visualizing and thinking and creating.
Fun. What sorts of writing do you do then?
Just anything that comes to mind, like short stories. We both love to write, like poetry. I wrote a book.
And Ariel has an awesome novel that she's been working on for a long time, and she's really great at like describing everything so well, and battle scenes and epic things like that. So it's,
Oh,
it's very
dude.
cool. Very cool to be able to read it and check it out too firsthand.
That's awesome. Is it publicly available yet, or?
No, it was one of my goals before to well, still is, but to get it published. And so I started writing it when I was 16. I revised it 6 times, and I'm finishing the final revision now.
Sweet.
So it's gone through a crazy amount of changes, and yeah, I've started other projects on the side too. But it's another one of kind of my expressional outlets. You know, it's amazing to be able to just like immerse yourself in a different world which you created with characters you created, and you can feel and, you know, understand and make in whichever way you want. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, that's sweet. That is so sweet. And so are you hoping to release it this year?
Well, I'm going to be looking for an agent and
Okay.
pitching it once again. And since I haven't done that for a few years, since the very first revision, and yeah, actually one of the guys that was once interested in my book and kind of let me know that I should, you know, what I should do to actually make it better and stuff like that, has come to some of our shows and is into our music too. So it's been kind of cool to reconnect and connect on both levels with, you know, such creative people like that too.
Oh, that's awesome. So you can be the fully well-rounded artist of not just music, but your your stories, novels. Like, do you see that turning into a whole series?
That one book, I think I'll leave at the one, but I have many other projects on the go, and it's kind of the same thing as music. It's like if you feel it's right and you want to express it, you know, you just write it. And yeah, I definitely try to write every morning and, you know, express what I can, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of, yeah, I can't imagine not doing it.
When you're writing, is it a lot of, are you using just pen and paper or typing, or like, was that?
I use a computer. I mean, I love a typewriter, but then any mistake you'd have to redo, and pen and paper gets your hand pretty sore.
Yes.
I mean, it is a long book. It's like 350 pages. So
Whoa.
yeah, that'd be a lot of pen and paper. I'm being a little more eco.
If you had to give us a quick synopsis of what the story's about, hi Zach, thanks for joining us. If you had to give us a quick synopsis of what the story's about, how would you summarize it?
Well, it's
how would you tease
actually,
it?
it's kind of a post-apocalyptic novel and about a society which is different than humans. So they're kind of emotionless and they're driven by progress, but in a way it's kind of medieval to the point of that they don't have the technology that we have. They're kind of, you know, swords and arrows and all that kind of stuff. And it's about a prince of that society, and he is actually half human. And so he's torn between being this one emotionless, you know, person that's supposed to take over and dominate the rest of the world, to actually feeling things for people and understanding himself that way, and kind of him finding himself and finding out if, you know, he's born to be the person that he is supposed to be, like that his father wants him to be, or should he actually, you know, rebel against that and, you know, bring humanity some justice.
So there's a real dichotomy going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I won't ask you to spoil it. Do you have a working title for it, or a title that you're ready to release to the public?
I do, but I'm probably not going to release it just yet.
Okay. No, fair enough.
Yeah.
Make sure to get it trademarked and copyrighted first. Do all the good businessy things. But that's sweet. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and we both love to express ourselves through writing, so it's always awesome.
Writing is such a great process. I know what you mean about the typewriter thing, though.
Yeah, typewriters are really cool. Like our mom had one way back in the day, and I've always loved using it. But like, she actually wrote some of her PhD on a typewriter, and she always told us like she went through so many papers back and forth just
Yeah, I want to make
white
one
out,
small edit,
right?
Oh.
Little edits, you know, because you know that was a while ago. She didn't have a computer,
Sure.
but yeah, I can't imagine writing a novel on a typewriter. Maybe I'd try just for experimentational purposes, but
It's a lot of fun to use them these days, though. There's
yeah.
something delightfully retro. I've got 2 of them here.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, one's an electric typewriter, one's a manual typewriter. And the manual typewriter is like needs a surprising amount of force to actually use the stupid thing.
Wow. Sore fingers after.
Oh my god, dude! Like the first time I was using it, I would use the normal, the normal amount of pressure used to type, right?
Yeah.
And I'd press down, and the arm would barely swing up.
Oh my gosh.
I'm going, what the hell? How much force do I need to use?
You'll probably be ready to play bass after using that guy for a while.
That is a good one.
Yeah, finger picking.
Oh my god, I can only imagine. How are you guys doing for time?
Oh, we're good.
We're good for
Good,
time?
yeah.
Awesome. Because I got a couple more questions for you.
Oh, awesome.
I noticed on your website the photo that you've got. It looks like it was taken at the Hideout in Toronto. Is that true?
Which one?
On the EPK,
Yes.
the electronic press kit, I assume that's short for.
Yeah, that was when we played Indie Week.
Oh, cool. And how'd you get involved with that?
We just submitted our bands, and they pick some bands from every location to play, and you get to play at one location. It's kind of like a bit of a showcase, and we also got invited to play the Hideout, which was really cool. We're actually playing there again on April 13th this year.
Sweet.
Yeah, so we're excited to do it again. It's such a cool venue and such a cool atmosphere.
That doesn't happen to be a Monday, does it? Huh.
I'm not sure.
Interesting.
But it was really cool to play because we got to meet up with a lot of bands like from the UK and South Africa and Australia. And
Oh, whoa.
yeah, just kind of hear different music and yeah.
So this isn't just any old event. This is like getting international performers too, yeah?
Yeah, it was cool because some of the bands we met and like connected with are from all over the place.
Whoa.
And that was really, really interesting. It was the coolest part of the event, I would say.
And so are you hoping to do that again someday?
Yeah, we're hoping to do that this year again. It's at the end of the year, so we'll see.
Sweet.
But it would be definitely cool.
Have you done any international gigs?
No, but that's definitely a goal because we love to travel.
And I bet there would be a lot of folks over in Europe that would love to hear your stuff.
Yeah, we'd love to go to like Germany or like England. And to be honest, if we go to Europe, we'd want to go all over the place. And actually, one of our big destinations is Iceland.
Yes.
Yeah.
Iceland.
Yeah. Have you been?
I have been.
Awesome. How was it?
Oh my God, it's the loveliest place ever.
That's so cool. We've always wanted to go.
Oh, dude, go.
In the summer or the winter?
I was there in the summer.
That's what we're thinking, this summer.
But from what I've been told, the weather's pretty good year-round. So you like, oh my God, they're so nice there.
Yeah, it looks like such an amazing place. Just the nature, like we're obsessed with nature and just like connecting with yourself on that level. And like some of the landscapes, it's like there's no one there, which is kind of cool actually, because most tourist attractions are like so filled with people, but like it's so unique in that way.
Well, they've got such incredible environmental policy too.
Yeah.
Like I love the fact that theirs is really rooted in function, because they're like, don't drive your SUV on the grass because it's taken 3 million years for grass to grow here. And if you drive it there, that's it for the grass.
Yeah, that's cool. It's interesting because like we researched a lot about animal stuff there. Like apparently there's not that many animals native to Iceland, right? Not even spiders.
Yeah. Like it's such a unique place. Like the night that I touched down there, driving from the airport into Reykjavik was like seeing every alien landscape from every movie that you've ever watched.
That's amazing. What was your favorite part?
Oh my God. I mean, driving down the highway at 2:30 in the morning, blasting my music. That was a ton of fun. Honestly, just bumping into a lot of really cool people.
Yeah.
Like everybody there. I didn't actually meet I don't think I met any native Icelanders, but everybody seemed to be from like different places. There were so many immigrants there. One of the coolest adventures was just walking around. Like you walk around and, there's as you're walking through downtown Reykjavik, you go over to the water and you're taking this like everyday bike trail, but like next to you is the friggin' ocean.
Yeah.
And it's
beautiful.
Just, oh my God. Or you're driving down the road and you look out to your right And you go, oh, that's a really neat looking mountain. And then you take another look and go, that's a volcano.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think you get so much inspiration from traveling.
Oh my God.
Seeing different places and ice
Tons
caves.
of it.
Did you see the ice caves?
I did not. I was only there for 24-hour stay.
Oh, not long
no.
enough.
Not long enough. It's on my to go back to list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just once you went?
Just the once, yeah.
Yeah.
I was going over there on a stopover to Finland.
Oh, nice. That's
Yeah.
another place we'd want to visit.
Have you heard of the Savonlinna Opera Festival?
No.
So in eastern Finland, every summer, there's in eastern Finland, like maybe 15 minutes from the Russian border, there's a town called Savonlinna. And in this town, just off in the river, there's this castle that was built on this little rocky island called Castle Olavinlinna.
Oh, yeah.
And every year they put a roof over the courtyard of this castle, and they hold this rock and opera festival there.
That's cool.
It's the coolest thing in the world. It is the coolest thing in the world. Have you ever heard of Sonata Arctica?
No.
So they're a Finnish power metal band.
I have heard of a lot of great musicians from that area, though.
Yeah. I mean, when you're stuck indoors and it's dark for 23 hours a day,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine they get a little angsty. But yeah, I've listened to Sonata Arctica since I was in high school, and it just happened during that summer that I was in Finland. They were going to be performing at this place, and I was like, I get to see Sonata Arctica live
It's amazing.
in a friggin' castle.
That
Ugh.
must have been really cool. Quite
That's
the
so cool,
experience.
yeah.
Like, it doesn't
Castle.
get any more friggin' metal than that.
Yeah.
I agree.
You're just in this courtyard, and it was, oh my God, it was so awesome. It was so epic.
That sounds so cool.
Maybe you could perform there.
That would be amazing.
That would be
Yeah.
so
That'd be amazing.
badass.
Have-
Just to have that in the background.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And we haven't even seen that many castles, to be honest. The only castle we've seen recently is the Halloween thing at Castle Oma in Toronto. But we'd really love to see something actually like ancient, like old stories and stuff to it, and like stuff that's gone on, there for so long, like stuff you can get inspired by so much more.
Oh yeah. You know where's also good for that one? Estonia.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Because they preserve the old town of Estonia, or they preserve the old town of Tallinn, their capital. So, and it looks like something completely out of the Middle Ages,
That's cool.
like courtyard and the town square and the old churches and everything.
Wow.
And it's like, if you're a creative of any kind, like, you just get inspired while you're there.
We've got to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever been to the Netherlands?
Very, very. You know what? No, I wasn't to the Netherlands. Closest I was. Is Sweden considered the Netherlands? No, they're separate places, right?
Yeah. Close though.
Close, yeah. I was in Sweden for like a half hour, but that was it.
Oh, not enough.
Yeah.
We were in Montreal for a day and it was not enough. It's like that kind of thing where like if we ever go travel, it's like we got to be there at least 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's like, can you imagine doing Europe and not being like, oh, even 1 week in one place isn't enough?
No, there's a
so
magic
much.
number you got to hit.
13 days.
Yeah, I was gonna say 13 days in every place.
Yeah. That's a good, the 13 tour. That'd be kind of fun.
That would be.
Yeah.
What's the one place, if you could go anywhere, what's the one place you would go?
For music or just for ourselves?
Let's go with both.
It's a hard
That is
pick.
a hard pick. I'd
So
go
many
with
places.
Iceland, but I mean, not necessarily for music, but just for ourselves.
Mm.
And we'd play music there if we could. I mean, it has a cool music scene that I've heard of.
Yep.
England is the one we really want to visit. Ireland, Scotland,
Sweet.
Germany.
And why like England and Ireland?
I've heard so many cool things. Like there's so many cool music, influences from there, like the Beatles. And I definitely want to visit a lot of places there that are really old and rustic and everything. And yeah, so many different inspirational artists from there. And it would be really cool to play there. We know a lot of bands from England, which we
Right.
played here with. So it'd be cool to connect with them and go from there all across Europe.
Oh, bands from England that you
Yeah.
played with.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, an artist that came down here from England. It'd be cool to come down to England and chill with them there too.
What band did you play with from England?
One of them was Tokyo Taboo
Mm-hmm.
and
The Blank Page.
The Blank Page. Another one was an artist named John Ainsworth, and he's like a finger picking kind of punk guitarist.
He sounds really familiar for some reason.
Yeah, we played a show together at 765. It was cool.
Old East Bar and Grill?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other ones we played with at the Hideout.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Fun times, man.
Oh yeah.
Japan's another place that would be really
Oh,
really cool to
Japan.
check
Yeah.
out. Also
Oh,
for
yes.
They have I've heard they have a great music scene, and it's just such a different culture and so many awesome things to check out there.
And we love sushi.
Oh, yes.
Are you a sushi fan too?
Oh, hell yes.
Oh yeah.
That stuff puts me to sleep afterwards, but yes.
Sashimi and are you into oysters?
Yep.
Yeah. Good
Yep.
stuff.
Oysters are good times. Yeah, I love me some seafood.
Same. Same. And tardigrades.
And
What's
which?
up? Tardigrades.
What are those?
So they're a microorganism we're really inspired by, and we put into a lot of our art and stuff because they're kind of like live tiny, die never. And they can survive in the vacuum of space. They can survive radiation. They can survive without food or anything for up to 30 years. They're really these unique like microorganisms.
How did you find out about those?
I remember just like hearing about water bears, and that's kind of like their alternate name, and just looking into it and being like, we thought it was really cool, and yeah,
They're very alien.
No
Yes.
kidding.
Yeah. Like they can live in space.
They can live in space. Like, that's crazy. Maybe they are aliens.
Well, they're native to our planet, so
Oh, okay.
not anymore.
Okay, I guess that's that fantasy out the window.
Yeah.
well, maybe they originated somewhere else and
Yeah.
came here, but who
Yeah.
knows?
Or to the best of our knowledge, they're from our planet, but maybe we're wrong.
Maybe.
You know, we have no idea about that stuff. Before we started the show, something we were talking about was, and on the environmental track was your, what's the best way you would describe it? Your business.
So we make all natural skincare and cosmetics, which are good for you and made out of pure ingredients. So that's pretty much how I would describe it.
And what is it called?
The brand is called Delizioso Skincare.
How do you spell that?
DELIZIOSO space skincare.
Delizio Skincare. Where'd you get that name from?
So when we started first getting into it, we kind of wanted to call it something that's delicious because we were thinking something tasty and actually good for you, but at the same time, it's artisan crafted, it's all natural. So we were really inspired by like what is delicious in Italian. And we came up with that. And at first, though, nobody could actually pronounce it and stuff like that, people had trouble with it. But then when we started actually, evolving the brand and people started loving the products, they pronounced it without a problem and they recognized it without a problem. So we're like, that's really cool that, we stuck to that.
That's awesome. And you started that when? 2008?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Oh my God, I can't believe it's more than 10 years ago now.
I know.
Yeah.
We mostly did a lot of market testing at first, just because we did everything ourselves. Kind of like we are in music, we had a very DIY outlook on things. So we designed everything, we did all the labels, and we worked on the website ourselves. So it was a learning process through actually like refining the brand, and then we incorporated in 2014. So,
But a lot of that stuff had helped us with the music side of things too, just knowing with like the graphic stuff, and yeah, got us into a lot of the video and technical things. So that was awesome.
A great way to test stuff out. And what inspired you to start this skincare line?
well, our mom was a natural raw supply and ingredients, so we kind of grew up in her office, and we really wanted to try and see if we could make something that's all natural, that's not like labeled natural but isn't actually. So we wanted to see if we could do that. And then, the whole creative, part of us got really, really inspired to make new projects, new scents, new formulas. And we got really inspired to just get creative and try and see what we can do, try and innovate. And that's kind of how we started. Like, one of our big innovations is our petroleum jelly alternative products. And we created that by accident almost. So we started experimenting and seeing how we can, we can bring something better to the table than what's out there. So like petroleum jelly is such a common product and ingredient, and we wanted to bring something that's an alternative that's better. So we started looking at it that way, to kind of bring something healthy and good for you to the table, to be an alternative to what you regularly use.
Right. Because petroleum jelly, there's quite a process that goes into making that, isn't there?
Yeah, it's part of the petroleum industry technically.
Right. Well, hence the name petroleum, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it feels like there's a lot of products these days that claim to be green and that claim to be eco-friendly or environmental this or whatever. How many of those claims actually stand up?
Very few. Like that's exactly what really inspired us to get into it, because when we started researching the labels, we're like, what? It says natural on the front, but then in tiny writing, it's like natural exfoliants, or like, oh, natural oils added. And it's not an all natural formula. So we're like, why can't it be? Why can't we try and make something and see if we can make something of it? So we started, and it kind of took off, and it became our brand and our thing. And, we really love that we can, provide a healthier alternative to people.
So you're not only are you doing good for the world, you're able to do good for yourselves too.
Yeah, in a way.
What a beautiful combination.
Thank you.
Plus, you've got some cross-branding opportunities. This is the business side of me that's spinning now and going, oh my God, they're entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
This is cool.
I mean, entrepreneurship is so much fun. Like, we fell in love with it just because, music is entrepreneurship in a way too. And you look at things a different way. When you think of ideas, you look at products a different way. You look at everything you pass on a shelf a different way. You kind of, the juice aisle, anything, you kind of think of it in a different way once you start actually looking into formulas, into how it's made, into production. And it's really interesting.
I feel like it requires a certain personality too, doesn't it?
I guess so. I mean, we were always very, very driven to, and very passionate about what we do. So.
And it doesn't, you two strike me as the kind of people that would not be compatible with your typical 9 to 5.
Probably not. I've never tried, but I mean, technically, I've never given it a shot. In entrepreneurship, you sometimes do like 9 to 9.
Yeah, or 9 to 8.
Yeah.
Well, it's great because you can kind of be flexible with your schedule, but at the same time, when work calls, you get what you get, right?
You're
So
responsible for it all.
as much work as you put in is the return that you get.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're responsible for, like Pike was saying.
Yeah. You're the boss.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're the boss, which is daunting sometimes.
But it's great to work together too, because we have like different aspects. We cover and we bounce off each other, and Ariel's always very creative with everything, and yeah, it's awesome to work together.
And the multiple revenue streams too is probably a lovely thing as well, because like, okay, we've got to, if we get some revenue in from the skincare line, it's like, okay, we don't have to focus so much on we can do some R&D on the music side.
Yeah, we definitely try to like help out the music side with what we can, because it's a huge passion of ours.
Right. You guys are entrepreneurs, just in kind of more of an artistic space.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, to be honest, like before we used to try to keep it very separate, just because our business demographic and everything is so different. Like,
really?
And yeah, with our music. And I mean, like, we didn't want to kind of mix it up, just because, business and skincare, and it's different from what we're doing in music. But I mean, now we kind of see it as a different perspective, just because in our skincare line, it's kind of like, it's not just a skincare line. It's like we're bringing justice to the industry in a way. Like, that was our initial, inspiration. That's what we really stand by. And just like with our music, I mean, we faced different people that wanted to be in the company and stuff like that, which completely wanted to change the vision, which we're looking at, huge margin increase or like, you know, technically changing the brand to not hold up our values, but look at, you know, larger investments and stuff like that. And we said no to those just because, just like in music, it's like we want to stay true to our word. Even if it takes longer, you know, we believe in what we do and we don't want to change that.
Every inspirational story I've ever heard where the people involved decided to defer that instant gratification for the long-term investment have all come out ahead.
It's not worth it. And I think it's just like a marriage. If you partner with the wrong people, you're really screwed.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, for a little bit at least.
Yeah. I mean, it can be good in the short term, but long term, oof, no. That's so sweet that you're entrepreneurs in so many different ways.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, just having a lesson like that in business really, you know, showed us, you know, what we would do in music too. Just like at first it's like, whoa, you know, what a good opportunity. You know, we're like, I'm 19 years old and there's this great opportunity handed to me. This could change my life. But like really analyzing these things and like understanding what that can actually do to you in the long run, you know, that really opened our eyes to everything and everything pretty much.
No kidding. That's incredible. So it sounds like a lot of this inspiration came from your parents, because it sounds like they were somewhat entrepreneurs as well, yeah? Yeah,
our mom got into entrepreneurship when in 1996 she started her own business actually, and she worked at Western. She was in neuroscience and biochemistry, and she started working with essential oils and other companies and things like that, and she really inspired us even knowing about that type of stuff and the natural industry and essential oils, which are amazing ingredients from plants, which can affect your brain and are these beautiful plant materials that we use in our products, which are so potent and that nature provided us. I mean, like there's even parts of oils which are used in the drug industry and big pharma and everything. And it's really fascinating how they can affect us.
Huh. Wow. Because I'd never thought about essential oils like that. I'd never really thought about essential oils to begin with.
Yeah.
I always just thought that you went and bought fragrances from a store, and if it says smell the most like chemicals, it was high quality.
Yeah. I know what you mean. But like with real oils and real ingredients that we use, it actually smells like the real thing. Like that's what we get when, you know, we show our products to people. They're like, wow, this smells like actual, like I want to eat this. That's what everybody generally says. Like, I want to eat this.
It's delicioso.
Yeah.
Nice. That's so basically self-taught entrepreneurs, self-taught performers, that's going to be the definition of the ultimate success story right there.
Oh, we're just having fun.
Yeah. So what's next for Mirage13?
Well, we're really excited for the Rum Runners show we're playing on January 25th at 9 o'clock with Lost Arts, Jailbirds, and Vultures playing Ruckus.
Sweet.
So, yeah, we hope to see you there and hope to see you guys there. And it'll be an awesome show. Our first show of the year.
Oh, yeah?
So we haven't played a show in a while, so we've been waiting to get going again, and we're really excited for it.
We played some out of town, but this is going to be the first London one in a while, so...
Yeah, and then you can look forward to some music videos and some single releases from us, because that's what we'll be planning to do before summertime.
Oh, dude, we're going to be getting more singles and releases on the website?
Definitely,
Sweet.
And on YouTube, and we're so psyched to work on that.
Yes, awesome.
Yeah.
Please experiment with some live streaming stuff, too.
Oh, we will.
Especially
this has been fun.
Especially with the studio settings. That'd be tons of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If people want to find out more about you, where can they go?
I guess our website or Facebook, or our website is mirageband13.com, and our Facebook, you can just look up Mirage or Mirage13 and we'll come up there. Yeah.
That's awesome. Before we wrap up, there's an event coming up tomorrow. It's being held by Daniel Carlos and a bunch of guys over at VRcadia. Have you heard about that place?
That's where we just were yesterday.
Dude!
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So he's got it open now, yeah?
That was the birthday party with Joel and everything.
Oh, screw. I missed it.
Yeah.
Damn.
We got to try some of the VR. That was so much fun.
Oh, man. So tomorrow night they've got the VR concert.
Oh.
Yeah. And I'm I've got a commitment out of town tomorrow, but I'm going to try like hell to get back here in time so I can get to it.
Cool.
But have you looked into any of the VR technology or what you could do with that with your own music?
Not too much yet, but I definitely see it could be a thing.
Yeah. I'm really curious.
Yeah.
When I saw a VR concert, I was like, this is going to be interesting.
It's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Different from a regular live experience, right?
No kidding. And I mean, was it Joseph's birthday yesterday? Or what was...
It was
It's
Alana's
Alana's.
birthday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joseph was, he took me through this awesome meditation thing. He's an incredible human being, too.
Yeah, that's cool. We met him yesterday, so
Oh,
yeah,
man.
that's awesome.
Isn't he just the best?
Yeah, he's a great guy.
London is just filled with so many awesome peeps.
I know it's cool how you end up bumping into so many people you know too, and like meeting so many cool individuals and stuff like that.
It's so much fun. I love this place.
So actually, I have a question for you before we go too.
Yo,
Solving the universe. What is your solution?
I feel like it's going to be a multivariable solution. So because math was not my strongest point in school, I have no idea how you solve that. I feel like we're having more and more conversations. I'm having more and more conversations with people, and I feel like there seems to be these themes that keep coming up in this podcast, like being authentic and what that actually means. And I don't know, I've had a lot of experiences over the last 2.5 years where I've run in some circles where you get professional speakers. You know, I'm a professional speaker. I speak in front of 3,500 people a day. It's like, oh, that's wonderful for you, sweetheart. But there can be a lot of inauthenticity there. Like they're about as authentic as they'll do what they need to get you to buy their book. So I find that I struggle a lot with people that are not authentic and that are not real. And I think that's why I gravitate towards artists like yourselves, because like you're some of the most real people out there, and and you look at the world completely differently. And just having done the 9 to 5 route, I just found myself wanting. You know, I just, like 9 to 5 is so soul killing.
Yeah, definitely.
And I feel like there's a certain group of people that works for, but at the same time, like there's. Where am I going with this? This is a big rambly tangent thing. Solving the universe, for me, it's really about, we've made it this far as a species and we've got so much farther to go. How can we get to the next stage of our development as efficiently as possible while doing the least amount of harm? Because we've, like, my biggest thought there kind of goes back to my thoughts about belief. I'm not sure how spiritual you are, but for me, I had a phase where I was a raging atheist, because that was the cool thing to do when you're in a Catholic school. Then I kind of mellowed out about that, and I was like, well, that's kind of arrogant to say that I know that there is no God. And after a while, I was like, well, maybe one day we'll reach a point in space where we'll meet the creator of this dimension, and we'll have enough knowledge to break through to the next dimension. And then our journey will be to reach the next power, and then our journey from after we meet that one will be to reach the next one, and then maybe we'll eventually get to know the consciousness or the thing that binds all of reality as we know it together. And then maybe we can use that to tap into alternate realities. Who the hell knows?
Nobody knows, that's the thing, but we do love to talk about it sometimes.
But, like, don't you feel like it's possible that, like, I just find it so disingenuous when people say it's like, oh, we need, like, we'll never know everything, or like, there is a God or there isn't a God, like, that people know these things for a fact. It's like, how can you possibly know that?
No, we don't even know if this is for a fact a simulation or not.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, what are atoms made up of? Well, they're made up of strings and string theory. It's like, well, what's the string theory stuff made up of? It's like,
Yeah.
and they shrug and they've got no idea what the hell that stuff's made up of. But it's like, I feel like we're a species of infinite potential. And my attempt to help solve the universe is to, in some way, help us reach that next level, help us reach the next set of potential. I don't know. That's
a cool answer.
That's my goal anyway. You know, and maybe hey, you don't even need psychedelics for that.
Yeah.
Maybe essential oils, but you know, who knows? But yeah, I guess did spirituality ever play a big part in your development?
We've thought a lot about it, like for us, I mean, especially about the universe and how it's created and how, like, you know, how everything could be within everything, and like just theorizing about things kind of was a big thing for us. We were never big on like religion or anything like that, to be honest. But we're never closed off either. Like, because just like you said, I totally agree. Everything cannot be a fact because it is a theory, right? And there's no way to prove that theory really yet. Yet, yeah.
Being the key word.
Yeah. So you never know. I mean, there's so many different ideas, and what's fascinating is that our brain can only think of so many ideas. What if there's something beyond what we can even think of, because we only think of what we know? Like, that's also another interesting thing, even when writing music. Like, you're writing of things that you've perceived, things that you know, things that you've seen, heard. It's just like a mixture. It's a blend you made.
Mm-hmm.
But like, what if there's things beyond that, colors beyond that, like that we can't comprehend, or, you know, things that we can't see or like can't understand, and that can't imagine. Yeah, just because it's completely out of our brain's capacity. Like,
well, when I just thought back to when you two were talking about bouncing ideas off of each other and revealing the unknown. I mean, even that's a miniature version of revealing the unknown.
Absolutely.
You know, some idea that you bounce off a brick is like, oh, that was unknown to me 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, definitely. Hitting stone there.
Yeah. You know, but like, but that's the sort of potential that we could tap into. Like, if we can do it just in a simple way by bouncing ideas off of each other, imagine like if we just increase that scale. And that's what we've got with the internet.
Absolutely, because everyone can connect so much better, right? Like, than they could before.
We've never had more access to information ever, and we've got this tremendous opportunity in front of us as a species. So the real question is, how are we going to harness it? And I think if we allow the advertisers to just use it for their own deeds, then we've done ourselves a great disservice. You know, it's we've got a lot to work on, but for all the doom and gloom and naysayers out there, I think we're headed in a good direction.
Yeah.
Overall.
I think so too. I mean, like, we've gone such a long way since, and so fast technically, even with the internet. Like, that has come up, like, I don't think it was there when I was born, right? So like, it's really gone fast.
Technically, it's amazing that someone can just connect from across the world and like live, and you can meet people without even leaving your house.
Like, think back even 10 years to 2009. Like, you picking up your phone and live streaming? That wasn't a thing. Really? Like, that was crazy. That was like, there were still cell phone plans where where unlimited text messaging was a feature.
Yeah. At the same time, I do think, like, with phones and stuff, people are becoming a little too distracted from the present, kind of being very occupied by this world which they've created, not really living in the real world.
Yeah. You know what? I've got a personal admission to make here. I took Facebook off my phone. And I've noticed over the last couple weeks, I've not had it on there for about 2 weeks now. I've noticed over the last couple weeks, I've had moments where I've actually gone to check my phone and been like, oh, I was going here to check Facebook, but it's not on here. And I'm like, God, that's scary.
Yeah.
Like even somebody who's got the technical background like me and does the behavioral psychology, I'm like, damn, I've fallen victim to it. Like that's scary stuff.
I
And
know it can be very addictive.
oh my God.
People. Yeah.
And what's really struck me is getting to know, again, kind of in the professional speaking world and getting to know all those people, is how easy it can be for people to put on a persona. And how easy it is for people to put on a fake version of themselves and go, look at me, I'm just this incredible, awesome person.
Yeah, and in a way it feeds like narcissism.
Anybody can be a celebrity.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to. It's like it's Instagram reminds me of, if you had a paparazzi team following you around at every moment. Like you can just put every oh, I'm at Starbucks. I can just put every moment of my life up.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's freaky in a way. I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, like we recently watched this one movie where this one girl ended up having a stalker, and like she posted everything she did on social media, so we pretty much knew everything she was doing and exactly where she was, just because she's like, oh, here I am here, oh, here I am there. And in a way it's like I can't imagine taking a photo of everything you're eating and doing. It's like it takes away from actually doing that.
Yeah.
And the people you're actually with, interacting with,
Yeah. No, and I've noticed it with myself of just having to go, no, I need to leave the phone elsewhere so I can actually interact with people here in meet space. And it's,
Yeah.
yeah. I love my smartphone, but man, that thing is addictive. So maybe part of solving the universe is balancing out that, how do you actually, I was actually thinking about going back to a flip phone for a little while.
I had one of those in high school. It was my first phone, and then I gave up cell phones, and we just got this one literally a year ago. Our drummers hated us for not having a cell phone.
Oh, wow, that's bold.
Yeah. Yeah, because like we go to Toronto, and they're like, where are you guys? I can't contact you. We didn't have a cell phone.
Oh, yeah.
So we ended up, just because like even with the business and everything we do, it's like you don't want to be bombarded with things all the time, like
we already have computers
Yeah,
and everything.
that's
around, so.
Well, it just makes you completely reactive.
Yeah.
You never get a chance to actually think. I don't know. I'm honestly seriously thinking about going back to a flip phone, just because it's, I don't know. I got to detox from social media or something.
Yeah.
Because I check that Instagram feed like nobody's business.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, this has been awesome.
Yeah, it has been cool.
And next time we do this, and I'm hoping there's a next time for sure.
Definitely, yeah.
Because I think next time we got to get into some more of the solving the universe stuff.
Yeah, let's solve the universe.
Yeah, I'm thinking what I want to do sometime soon is I've been talking about, and I'll add you guys to there's a super secret Facebook group only for the guests of LSTU. Sorry, everybody. But we've been talking about doing these kind of like live panel shows where we get a whole live audience and we just get questions from them as well.
Cool.
And start covering some of these topics. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff that Ray and I talked about like sacred geometry and scriptures. And she had this whole book about the structure of numbers, I think it was. Like, it was crazy mind-bending stuff. And like, I want to set up more shows. I want to set up a show like that.
That'd be really cool.
So I assume you're in?
Yeah, definitely.
Sweet.
Yeah, let us know.
Cool. So you can be found online at mirage13.com. And you're performing at
Rum
Runners
January 25th.
On January 25th. January 25th, Rum Runners, London, Ontario, mirage13.com. Brick, Pike, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, thanks.
And dear listener, we will talk to you next time on Let's Solve the Universe. Here comes the outro on the edited version for the live stream. I'm going to roll over to the computer and hit stop. Thanks, everyone. Love ya. Stop that one. That's one.